Let's take a moment to connect the dots. Every Thursday, in under 10 minutes, I'm going to share with you real-life, everyday situations to help you as an entrepreneur, a leader, an innovator, or just a person who's venturing out to try something new. These stories will help you make sense of situations you may find yourself in, and also provide encouragement to keep you moving forward in your journey. Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to the first Thursday Thought of the year 2022. I'm thankful to have taken some time over the past 3 weeks to really just think about how I want to have an impact in the world in 2022. While I'm a person that doesn't make resolutions, I understand how some people need a definite fresh start, and this feels like a fresh start to many people. There are a few ways that I want to share with you how I'm approaching this year and this stage of my life and my career. I've been really intentional for many decades now, but this year it's really opened our eyes to a lot of things, compounding on the pandemic that happened in 2020 and we experienced through 2021, thinking we were over the hill and turning the corner, as they say. And now we're in 2022 and we have additional challenges, potential wars, all kind of things that really are outside of my control. And those aren't things that I can worry myself with. All I can do is play my part. And I hope that that is the way that each individual takes their approach to how they're going to walk into this year. So I know a lot of people make goals around how much money they want to make, how many pounds they want to lose, and things like that. And that's not really my approach. My approach would be around making goals about how I want to spend my time, but then also making goals around the impact I want to have on the world. So with defining that impact, I'm defining and have defined who I want to impact, why I want to impact those particular group of people, and in what ways do I want to impact them. And then from there, because I'm a business builder, right? I come up with the vision and the idea behind what I want to do and the mission behind it. But then the next step is identifying how you're going to do it, the actual tactics and day-to-day things and weekly things and monthly things that must be done to accomplish that impact in the way that I've defined for myself. So that is something I wanted to share with everyone in case that's an approach you might want to consider. Recently, I read an article from Tim Ferriss. For those of you who may not be familiar with Tim Ferriss, he's the author of The 4-Hour Work Week, which is a book about how to basically design your life so you're not just existing and you're doing things in an efficient way so that you have time to enjoy the things that you want and also to make a living for yourself. But in his post, he says, forget New Year's resolutions, but instead conduct a past year review. Now, again, as I mentioned, I'm not a fan of New Year's resolutions, and I think that people should make changes in their lives when necessary, and that could be at any time during the year. So Tim Ferriss said that he's often asked how he approaches New Year's resolutions, and so that's why he wrote this article, because he's like, hey, I don't approach them at all. Like, that's not the way I look at things anymore. And so, of course, people are wondering why the change? And why the focus on doing past year reviews instead. So he says that the first time he actually did this past year review was after someone he knew, their young daughter died of cancer on New Year's Eve. And this was about 8 years ago. And that's when he first started this past year review. And he's done it every year since then. So during that friend's daughter's passing, it reminded him that our days here are very precious and not to fill them with people and activities that don't nourish us most. Now, that is very deep because this is something that I think a lot of us have received a lesson about in the past couple years as we've been going through this coronavirus pandemic. What we know for sure is that life is very fragile and there are a lot of things that are outside of our control, but we get to choose who we spend time with and how we spend our time. So the approach that Tim Ferriss has for past year reviews is really just 5 steps. And I'm going to share them with you right now. These 5 steps should take you no more than 30 minutes to an hour. Okay, so let's start with the first part. The first part is just grab you a notepad, just pencil and paper. If you prefer to use your phone, that's fine. But use a notepad and draw a line down the middle. And on one side, write positive, underline it at the top. And on the other side, write negative and underline it, put it at the top. Now go through your calendar from all of 2021 and see how you spent your time. And now for the third step, you're going to go through each week and jot down any people, activities, or commitment that triggered a peak positive or negative emotion for that month. And then you just put those people, activities, or commitments in their respective columns. So for step 4, once you've gone through the past year, 2021, you're going to look at that notepad list and you're going to say to yourself, what 20% of each column produced the most reliable or powerful peaks? And these peaks include for positive times and for negative times. You're looking for the peaks for both ends of the spectrum. For step 5, based upon the answers, you're going to take your positive leaders, the top 20%, and schedule more of them in this year, 2022. You need to get them on your calendar immediately. And that means booking things with friends and maybe virtually right now, but also prepaying for activities of events, commitments, and things that you know work for your spirit, for your career, for what you actually want to do in 2022, especially with the impact you want to have on the world. And for all of those things on your negative list, take those top 20% of negative leaders from that list and put them on a not to do list in a place that you can see every morning, at least for the next few weeks of 2022. And that will assure that it's embedding your brain to not add those things to your schedule or include them in your life. And again, these could be people, activities, or commitments that you did previously that no longer serve you or help you have the impact that you want to have in the world. Now, what typically happens when we have to eliminate things like this, it really gets us to the point where we're like, oh no, maybe I should do that. You know, people are going to be counting on me. You feel guilty about things. You may fear you're going to miss out on things. And ultimately, those are things that we tell ourselves to avoid change. So don't fall for it. A lot of times we sabotage our own progress from the things that we tell ourselves and fear and guilt that we actually embed into ourselves. So avoid that trap entirely. And that's it. If you try this out, I would love to know how it goes for you. It's something that I think everyone can do every year. And it's pretty simple. Again, it should take about 30 to 60 minutes. And with that in mind, I look forward to seeing all of the great things you'll accomplish in 2022.